Hi, I'm Ashton, and today is March 2nd, which means today I've been testosterone for a whole entire 2 years. I'm like really excited, and I literally didn't even remember that it was my 2 years until my boyfriend reminded me, so shout out to Jack for being more on top of my own hormones than I am. So I guess as usual, I just wanted to talk about my experience on hormones, so I'm gonna use the list that I usually use to go through all of the general symptoms of testosterone replacement therapy and talk about my experiences with all of them after 2 entire years, but I'm also gonna do some extra fun editing things and probably talk a little bit more in depth about different things that I haven't necessarily done in the past. I don't know, I just want to talk about as much as I possibly can because 2 years is so much. Okay, I'm overwhelmed. So I have been on testosterone for 2 years as of today, not the day that you're seeing this, but the day that I'm filming this. So my current dose and the dose that I've had for the past maybe 9 months-ish, the dose that I've been on is 0.25 milliliters, and the concentration that I use is 200 milligrams per milliliter. And I do it subcutaneously, and I self-inject, and I've been doing that for 2 years now. Every once in a while, I try to calculate in my head how many needles I've had in my skin, and I just lose track every time. I've been doing weekly injections for about a year now, so that's 52 injections, and then the year before that, I did them every other week, which is 26 injections. I've also had 7 piercings, and I've also had my blood drawn 4 times a year. I don't know, I'm way too lazy to add that all up. A lot of the times when I talk to younger trans guys, they talk about their fear of needles stopping them from going on T. So a couple pieces of advice to you. 1, there are other options for testosterone replacement therapy, and 2, they are not as scary as you would think. I really gotta get into this video now, so let's go. So the first change on the list that I am using is increased libido. This is something that I don't really talk a lot about in general. I've definitely been more quiet in the past about sexuality as opposed to gender issues and mental health stuff, but my libido has increased a generous amount, but it's also worth noting that I was 16. I just turned 16 when I started testosterone, so I was probably not at a very stable level in my sex drive as a whole. So I can't really compare on that sense. It might be a better comparison to look at an older trans person that started T later in life, but my sex drive has definitely increased at a rate where I noticed. And then another slightly odd thing related to that, my sex drive actually does depend on when my shot is. When I do my shot, generally the couple days after it, I'm really ready to go, and it can be really annoying. It's not my favorite feeling. Even the fluctuations week to week, it's something that I'm just kind of oh, yep, had my shot yesterday, this is how I feel today. And even though it can be a change that can feel dramatic, it's definitely not scary. It's not something that you should be worried about. Sexuality is a normal part of human existence, and it's time that we all learn to embrace it and not be so scared of it. Next one on the list, redistribution of body fat. Again, this is not one that I've noticed at all, which is infuriating because it's one of the changes that I was looking most forward to. I have noticed a change in my body. There are jackets that I wore before I started T that no longer fit me in the shoulders because my shoulders have definitely broadened. That said, I still have an ass, a noticeable ass, and I still have hips and I still have a waist that is definitely not cisgender. I did get a comment recently though that on a previous testosterone update, somebody told me that your weight won't redistribute unless you lose the weight and then regain it. But personally, losing weight is really difficult for me because I already don't eat a large amount at all, and I've had issues with my body image and issues with my food habits in the past, and I am terrified that attempting to lose weight would drown me back into those bad habits and those disordered eating habits. So at least for now, that's not something I'm going to worry about. And I don't know if that's true or not. I don't tend to listen to random commenters when it comes to medical advice. That's something that I would probably ask my doctor about. I'm due for some blood tests anyway, because I'm always due for some blood tests. So I'll probably ask about that actually, and see what her take on it is. But as for if you're gonna comment something about why my weight isn't redistributing, I don't want to hear it. It's just So far, it's just not something that's happened for me, and it is one of the changes on testosterone that happens over a much, much longer period of time, and I also did start off on a much lower dose considering that I was 16. Cessation of ovulation and menstruation. I don't know about ovulation, like that's not something that I can like check, like, oh, are there eggs coming out of me? I don't know. When I was on testosterone, even up until like a year and 6 months, I was still getting periods, which is extremely abnormal. Love that for me. But my last period actually was in like late June, I think, June or July. So it's been quite some time, and I'm not pregnant. I can confirm that. I would know by now. So my menstruation has finally stopped, which is great. I still really, really want a hysterectomy just because there's tons of reasons. Like I can't be bothered to get into them right now. My uterus causes me a lot of dysphoria still, and I definitely want a hysterectomy, but testosterone has at least stopped my period. For now, as far as I know, which is great. Watch, the day after I post this, I'm gonna bleed. So that's been nice that stopped. Really appreciated that. Thank you, testosterone. I was on Depo-Provera for, I think, 6 or 9 months. I think just 6 months. I think I only had 2 Depo shots. And Depo-Provera is something that a lot of transmasculine people actually do take to help stop their periods. For me, it gave me periods. It continued my periods and just made them really, really random. So instead of having like at least somewhat of a schedule, they would just happen for like 2 weeks and then stop for a week and then happen for like 3 weeks and stop for like 2 months and then happen for 4 weeks. It was very abnormal, very not fun. So I went off Depo, and almost immediately after I went off Depo, I just stopped bleeding. So what my gynecologist said as like her theory as to what was happening was that the testosterone therapy and the Depo-Provera were actually acting together and being too effective to the point where it was thinning my uterine lining so much that it just continuously shedded in a way, which is a weird thing to hear, but I guess that's most likely what happened. So again, I don't need any of you to be doctors in the YouTube comments. That's just something that my body did that was weird and is done with now, so thank goodness that's over. But again, I don't want to jinx it. I'm done with having a period. It's the worst. Next on the list is increased musculature. This is one that not only have I not experienced, I feel like I haven't had the opportunity to experience. I don't particularly exercise a lot. I do marching band, but that's like a season, and that season is over now. And I've also had top surgery like twice, pretty much. So I've had like periods of many, many months where I've just been like, I can't really move my arms. I'm going to college next year and I'm taking my bike, so hopefully I'll be biking around a lot. There are some tattoo studios around there that I definitely want to visit and are like a solid bike ride away. That said, I don't know if I'd want to bike on a fresh tattoo. It depends, I guess, but we'll see. But also, like I mentioned earlier, losing weight in a like regulated way is not something that appeals to me for multiple reasons. So yeah, avoiding unhealthy habits while simultaneously remaining healthy is something that's difficult for me. But anyways, I ride horses once a week, which is like very leg muscle heavy, and I have very, very strong thighs, but I kind of always have. I've been riding for 10 years now, so that's something that just is on me. Like, I don't think that's due to testosterone. That said, my shoulders are definitely stronger than they ever have been, and I think that is probably related to testosterone making it easier for me to build muscle. I have more than one like jackets that pull on like this one does that I got far before I started T and had fit me forever because I have not like grown taller since I was like 10 that fit me everywhere, like are long enough for me. My shoulders are just way too broad, which on one hand like sucks because there are jackets that don't fit me anymore, but on the other hand, it's so validating. So yeah, increased muscle mass I think has happened in my shoulders. My shoulders are definitely broader, and my ass and my thighs are just really muscular to begin with, and I don't think testosterone really changed that. Increased sweat and changes in body odor. This is something that I didn't notice, but I also avoid heat at all costs. I absolutely despise the feeling of sweating. It's a big sensory issue for me. The summer is like hell for me. And I also haven't noticed a change in body odor, but I also like wear deodorant every day. I don't really get a chance to like smell my own body odor. So that's not something that I've really noticed in myself. It's entirely possible, but I don't have like a comparison, you know, that I can discreetly say like, yes, I smell worse. I probably do, but I do my best to keep myself clean, so it's not something that I notice. Prominence of veins and coarser skin. I do have coarser skin, but I feel like that's due to my acne, but I also just have very, very soft skin in general, like I always have, when it's not covered in acne and eczema. Everywhere that isn't like affected is very soft, and that hasn't changed. But I think I do have like definitely more prominent veins, at least in my hands. Like my hands look a lot more masculine now than they did before tea, which is something that I've noticed in myself, but I don't think is really something other people take into account. But nevertheless, it is something that I appreciate personally. Acne, yeah, I love that. Mine isn't too bad at the moment. It's a bit washed out when I'm back here, but when I get closer, you can see some there. Yeah, that's fun. I am very acne prone in general. I have dermatillomania, so I touch my skin all the time, even when I shouldn't. I'm working on it. I'm still working on it. I'm always working on it. Acne is something that I am especially prone to due to my dermatillomania and just due to my genetics. I also get eczema on a regular basis. So, you know, my skin is not my friend a lot of times. Even though it's the largest organ in my body, I'm gonna fight it. But I wash my face, and as I've made washing my face more of a habit, it's definitely not been as bad as it was in the past. Like, my skin looks relatively decent right now, which I appreciate very much. Thank you, at Skin. All right, now on to the exciting one. Deepening of the voice. Hell yeah. One of the most, like, frequent comments I get is like, oh, I just came from an old video of yours and your voice is so deep now. And it's one of my favorite comments. In general, it can be kind of awkward when people talk to me about my transition, but my favorite thing is when people will point out things that even I didn't notice. Like my boyfriend was the one that pointed out like, hey Ash, your shoulders look really strong. And I was like, I love you. But people online a lot of the times point out like, your voice has changed so much, and it's something that I don't particularly notice because I hear myself talk all the time, not even like talking, hearing myself in this moment, but like when I edit this, I'll hear myself talk. It's just such a gradual change that even when my voice is breaking, it's not something that I like internalize as my voice changing. It's just something that like, voice is cracking again. But I figured since this was my 2 years on T video, I would make a little compilation of my voice throughout my time on testosterone.
Hey, I'm Ashton. I've never posted a public video before. Hi, I'm Ashton, and I already filmed this entire video before realizing that the exposure made me look like Donald Trump, so we're trying this again. Hi, I'm Ashton. It's Tuesday, so this should be a mental health video, so I'm just gonna do a little mental health update because I can't really think of something to talk about today. This Thursday, today, I am 3 months on testosterone. I'm gonna tell you all about it as well as with my 6 months on hormones. Hi, I'm Ashton, and today's going to be a transition update. That's super exciting. I'm excited.
I'm almost 9 months on testosterone. I'm in the mood to talk about something like mental health related, but apparently there are more pressing concerns.
Yesterday was my 11 months on testosterone.
Hi, I'm Ashton, and I was gonna say it's that time of the month, but no. Hi, I'm Ashton, and I desperately need to clean my desk. Hi, I'm Ashton, and after I edit and upload a video, I very, very rarely go back and watch it.
And hi, I'm Ashton, and I'm 2 years on testosterone. The change in my voice is something that I'm extremely happy with. I'm really comfortable with where my voice is now. I feel like all of my dysphoria related to my voice is now social as opposed to physical because I'm comfortable with my voice. I'm just really dysphoric when other people tell me that I have feminine voice mannerisms because I genuinely don't care. Like, I don't think that those really impact how people see your gender. I feel like that definitely has impact on how people see your sexuality. But as a gay man, if my voice mannerisms sound feminine, I think I'm just going to be bred as a gay man, which I'm fine with because that's who I am. Another exciting one, growth of facial and body hair. This has for sure happened. So before testosterone, when I was 16, I had next to zero body hair. Like I had armpit hair and pubic hair, and that was it. I did not have leg hair. I barely had arm hair. I had zero facial hair. I had no hair on my stomach. I had no hair literally almost anywhere. And now I have so much. I mean, not so much. I'm still very much a twink, but I do have body hair now. So I'm going to show you pictures. This might actually be good lighting for you to see my facial hair because I haven't shaved in a while. I get a lot under here, which you can see. But I hate that and I shave it all the time. And then my upper lip as well. You can probably see. Yeah, so I do get facial hair now and I do shave. I would love to have like subtle stubble, because I feel like it would help me pass a lot more. And I like how men look with stubble, okay? Let me be gay in peace. But my face just doesn't grow consistent facial hair. Someday it will. I'm speaking that into existence, but right now it doesn't. It's very like patchy and dark in some places and like peach fuzzy in the others. As for other areas of my body, I do have hair on my tummy now, which makes me so happy because I've always said that is one of the cutest things. I love it. I know I say that with every hormone update, but I just love tummy hair. I think it's so damn cute, and it's made me a lot more confident with my stomach. So here's my tummy hair. It is a bit more difficult to see on camera than it is IRL, but you know, you can see it a little bit. I also have leg hair now, which again, I never ever had before testosterone. So shout out to testosterone for giving me some leg hair. Here's my leg hair. I'm sorry about the bald patch where my tattoo is. You know, you gotta shave your leg when you get a tattoo. So obviously not the whole leg, but here's my leg hair is what I'm trying to say. Here is my leg hair. None of this was present pre-T. Also my arms, like arm hair isn't something that I really thought about being impacted by testosterone, but I think it has been. I had next to no visible arm hair before starting testosterone. Obviously everybody has hair on their arms, most people do. But before testosterone, it was all invisible. Now you can see it. It's not something that you can see from like a mile away, but it is something that, like, if you look at my arm, you can see it. So I'll insert some clips of that here as well. I have some tiny chest hairs, but they're kind of like how my arm hair was before testosterone, invisible next to invisible. So that I don't really think about all too much. And then I don't have any hair like on my back or anything. My dad has a shit ton of back hair though. So I might someday, you never know, but maybe when I'm like 60, I don't know, who knows? What'll happen when I'm 60? That is a terrifying thought, never mind. Next one is male pattern baldness. I don't think I've experienced any baldness, but my hairline I think has masculinized. Like my hairline is very, very straight, you know? My hair is, I buzzed my hair a while ago, so it's like getting long enough where I have like these tiny, tiny bangs. But regardless, my hairline is very like angular and straight, which I feel like helps me pass, but it's also not something that I've had to like work for. I don't have pictures of my hairline like pre-T. It wasn't something I thought about taking pictures of, so that's just not something that I have documented. But I don't think testosterone has changed my hairline, and if it has, it's just masculinized it. I haven't lost any hair to like hair thinning or anything. I still have very thick hair. But at the moment, you know, you can't really tell. All right, enlargement of the clitoris. Jack and I had this conversation the other day about like how some people pronounce it clitoris, and it makes him really uncomfortable, and I'd never thought about that before, but I don't know, please tell, this is such a weird thing. Tell me if you pronounce it clitoris, because if so, I want to know why, because that's very odd to me. There's a lot of words that a lot of trans guys use for it that I don't find comfortable for myself. I just call it my dick. Sometimes my clit if I'm feeling particularly comfortable, but my dick is grown for sure. But by the way, if you're wondering about what all of this bottom growth stuff is, I have a whole entire video about literally everything that I know about bottom growth that I think is still a pretty cool video. So if you're wondering what I'm talking about, you can watch that. But yeah, my dick has definitely grown. And another thing that happens when you go on testosterone a lot of the times and your dick grows, you also kind of change the way that you feel sensation around it. It becomes very dick-like in a way that it can get erect, because I go a bit more into depth in this, in that video that I just mentioned. But essentially female genitalia and male genitalia are all made up of the same stuff. It just depends on what hormone is introduced in the womb. So when you introduce testosterone to a body like mine, your clit is going to be like, ah, yes, I am dick now. So and then you have growth down there, which is nice. And it's very sensitive and it can be painful at first, and I definitely had a period where it was that, but now I'm very comfortable with it. It doesn't bother me in any sort of sensory way. I pack a lot of the times, so that kind of like deflects contact from that area, if that makes any sense. But yeah, it's not something I think about a lot, even sexually. I just kind of ignore it. Like, I appreciate that it's there and it makes me more confident, but it's not something that's particularly changed the way that I interact with my body. And that is the whole entire list. So a great one to end on. Geez, why is that at the end? That's awkward. I'm sorry. I'm wearing an Against Me shirt, and also because I'm wearing this, it looks like it just says angst. And I don't know why, but I keep reading it in my like camera thing as angst, and I don't know, anyways, that was, I'm so tangential in this video, but aside from physical changes, there are, of course, a lot of, like, emotion, brain changes, and again, it's a really difficult thing for me to pinpoint, because I do have not so many, like, multiple mental health issues in general. That said, I've definitely noticed an increase in, like, my general happiness level and my stability, mood-wise, that I could probably almost 100% attribute to testosterone. Like, of course, testosterone hasn't cured my dysphoria, but it has in a lot of ways decreased it, and I'm infinitely more comfortable with my body now than I ever was before testosterone, and it's given me the ability to embrace my body in a new way and feel a lot more comfortable with who I am in a way that I never could before. So, you know, thanks to testosterone, shout out to you for improving my mental health. As if testosterone is like an entity, like there's a molecule of testosterone just watching this like, thanks, Ashton. But, God, I'm a mess. So yeah, I'm definitely a lot happier of a person than I was before I started T, and I feel like anybody that knows me can probably attest to that, even probably you guys watching my videos. I've been doing this for almost as long as I've been on testosterone, and I feel like there's a definite change in my overall demeanor. I feel a lot more positive, I feel a lot more like myself, and I think that translates on camera pretty obviously. But anyways, I'm gonna head out now. I gotta feed my cats, so I'm gonna go do that. But thank you for listening. I hope that you learned something about maybe testosterone or maybe about happiness. I don't know. I love you. I'm sorry if this is a bit of a longer hormone update than normal, but hey, 2 years is like a milestone. Just wait until 3 years. That's gonna be a whole party, okay? I'm gonna throw a party. I'm actually very tempted to throw a tea party. Right? I think that'd be pretty good. Anyways, okay. My apologies if this video was long or unbearable, but I guess if it was, you wouldn't be watching now, so thanks for getting to the end if you're watching this. Goodbye. I hope that you are very comfortable with the way that your body expresses itself hormonally, and I hope that if you aren't, then you can get on a hormone treatment that helps you feel more comfortable in yourself soon, and I'll talk to you later, maybe.